All those our videos, you will send it to me.
Okay,
I
okay.
thought
I
I will
have to
not allow
send
it.
it to put it on. Videos are actually there, but yeah, I'll put it.
You to sleep. All those are our
Yeah,
videos
don't
on
allow me. Don't
CSS.
allow me. Oh, okay. All right, no problem. So we are going to go back to colors. You know, I want us to
The
learn
ones you
some
are,
things.
the ones you are being us.
Yeah, no, oh, yeah, no problem. Just remind me. Don't allow me to sleep. As you said. Okay. So yeah, I know we are moving a bit slowly, but yeah, still, like I always say, try to go through the book that we have. But as time goes on, we're going to, build proper curriculum. But all these things requires time, you know, and resources. So, but yeah, for now, let's just always make use of what we have. It's very, very important. Okay, so whatever you have is always okay to start with, and it's like that in most cases. So please let us, if those the book, go through it, try to learn those things that are there. So today we're going to take a look back at colors again. So I want us to look at something about color. That's what we call color gradients. So let me just share my screen. I think, let's see, color gradient. Let me share. Just share the start screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So that's what we call color gradients. Linear color, CSS, linear gradient background. Okay, so right there. All right. So I'm sure you guys must have come across something like this on the web, but you may not really know how it works. So look at this color. This color, as I've seen like this, consists of more than one color combined. So let's go to this one. Can you see this?
Yes.
Can you see all this? Okay. What's called color gradient. So
Yes.
it starts from one color, fades into another color, and then
Yes.
so there is that combination of colors. So how do you get that? You get that using color gradient property of CSS. Okay. So and then if you just type color gradient and say this is web docs, Mozilla. So this is CSS. Whenever you type, look for something in CSS, you're likely be taking this is likely to be, let me just do CSS documentation, something like that. You're going to see this Mozilla website. So this is where you have CSS documentation. You also have other resources as well, but this is one of the most important ones that you're going to be using. Okay. So the CSS documentation, and that's what usually use, because sometimes when you want to build an application, you're not sure of some of the properties, because no one crams all these properties. You have to go back, go to the documentation and see what is there. All right. So here that I've gone here, of course, I've already typed this thing, and then so I want to build something like that combines color in such a way that So what makes this possible? So most of the things you're going to be doing in this industry that you have to just learn it by yourself, like by googling and looking at it. Okay, like this one, let's say I've not done this before. I say, okay, linear gradient creates an image consisting of progressive transition between two or more colors along a straight line. Okay, yeah, so you can see progressive transition. This one is start with green, and then move to and all like that. So uh let's see how we can do that. In fact, they also give you example. Okay, a linear gradient, 45 degree. So usually if you have 0 degree, then it just goes from the top like this and goes. But 45 degrees is like this, kind of 45 degree. But don't worry too much about it. You play with it and find out how. Now this one say to left top, blue, red. Okay, a gradient going from the bottom right to top left corner. Okay, so you want to go gradient going from bottom right to top left corner. So that's like this, bottom right to top. See? And then you see this one that says in OCLAB, interpolation in rectangular color space. Okay, some of these things require some polar color space, understand some mathematical terms. But don't worry too much about those things. You can always just copy this and see what it looks like. You don't necessarily have to like know with the exact, So, but the explanation is here: a color gradient going from bottom to top, starting blue. Okay, so you see bottom 0° to top. Okay, so if you start with 0°, just go from bottom to bottom. So starting blue, green, turning green at 40% of its length. So if you're going from bottom to top now, so when you go to 40% of this length, now it begin to change to that particular color. Okay. And yeah, so with this, because if you just have like normal colors, right, you may not really build something that is really interesting. So one of the things about web development, I have to be creative to build something that looks nice, not like some of these websites that you see. There are certain websites that you see, you realize that these people have not, they don't really understand CSS. So just take a color and just put it like, yeah, there's some universities in some certain countries that start with N. Their websites is crazy. So it shows the lack of understanding from the people that build the website and also the institution itself as a whole. So that's why it's good to find out what's happening there, look at other websites, and then you see what is out there. So today we're just going to learn about this. Here I have two boxes, although I have not just clean this. Yeah, just to demonstrate. Okay, we've already learned that just for the title here. It's just that even if you don't put the title, it still works. So, but I'll just put color gradients. Okay, so color that progressively changes. So here I'm going to just. So I have two divs. These divs are empty, so obviously you will not see anything on the screen because they don't contain any element, but they are there. Okay, let's really check if they're there. So if I go to dev tools, I'll go to elements, body, let's see. Okay, I think let's take it from, just take it from here. So I'll just copy this and paste in the browser. The one that comes with this sometimes can be, I think it's easier to view here. Let me just right click and go to inspect. Okay. So when you go to inspect, you're going to see a couple of things about this element. This is where we're looking at. You can see the body. So can you see those two boxes here? Box 1 and box 2. So I'm just going to close it to have more space. Okay, so see box 1, see box 2, because they don't contain anything. That's why they're not really showing there. They don't contain anything. So they don't have any content. Okay, but let's see what we can do to just build the boxes. So I'm just going to give them. Remember, we talked about the CSS border box, that everything is like a box. So I'm going to just create the. Although I called the box here. So I'm going to do the CSS. First of all, you start with the style. Okay, so this is where we've already learned how to use CSS from another file, which is a standard file. But just to make things easier, we're just coming back to this again. So here to select, I want this thing to show on the page. I want a particular size. I want it to be of a particular size. Okay, so to select this, I need to do hash box 1 because I call it. I've added an ID to it. So because of the ID, I'll do hash. So I'll do that. The first thing I'm going to do, I'll say the width should be 100 pixels. And then the height. Okay, maybe let me just do 200 by 200. So the height should be 200 pixels. Of course, there's no content, so it will not show. So one thing I can just do here, just to put the background color so that it will should appear, because right now, so I put the background color red. Okay. Then maybe put the border. One, I think
So yesterday, what station? I think
someone is. Please, can you mute your
person that told me says that.
please? Not sure. I'm not able to mute this. Okay. Okay, so you can see it's not showing. Who can tell me why the thing is not showing here? Even if I put this color, I'll put the border, it's not showing. Who can tell me why it's not showing?
There's no content.
No, not necessarily. Because even if there's no content now, I've already declared a width, and then a height, and I also put a background color. So it doesn't need to have any content at this point, because I've already created like a size for it, and then I put a color in that within that size. Now look at it very well. You see that I didn't put this one here because it's looking for this box, but it couldn't find it. So let me put one there, and that's it. Okay. So even if there is no content, right? Even there is no content. So if you create a space, okay, let me remove this again. I'll create, even if it's not there, but it's showing. Okay, we can even really confirm that is actually. So if I go back to this, remember how to get here. So once you just open your own browser, right click and go to inspect, you see elements. Okay, see, you can see the size now because I've indicated the size. Okay, for that one. So if you click on it, the size is there. But because there's no background color, it's just white, so it's as if there's really nothing there. So for the second one, and one thing about this inspector is something that you're going to play with, use a lot. Okay, so take note, just watch the way I'm using it. So if I click on this now, I can actually add CSS here. You can see styles. I can say here, for this one, I can do box. Box size and just do width again, 100 pixels. Height. So if I go back here for this one, you can see it's already showing there. And then also you can see it creates a style inside. This is inline CSS. I'll sit there. Okay. Yeah. So sometimes you want to check if the thing is going to appear the way you want it, so the way you expect it. You don't need to put the selector because once you click on it, it's already the element of style is already for that element. Okay. So you want to check something now. So I'll just add a background and put. Okay, let me just put view. Okay. So you can see this is view here. Okay, for the other one, I can just click on it and put a background as well. Crimson. Maybe just put green. Yeah, but this is not going to, once I refresh this now, it's going to go back to the original size, and then the color also disappear. It's just something that you can play with. Front, I can disconnect it by just clicking on this, and then I disconnect that. I can also disconnect this other one by just clicking on this. So it's not a permanent change. All right, it's not a permanent change. It's something that you can use to check. Once you confirm that, okay, this works, you can go back to your code and actually add it. For instance, now, if I refresh this now, it has disappeared. So because it's not really stored in the code here, it's just within the browser, but you can play around with it. Okay, so now that we have this, I think let's add a column background. Okay, see, I explained this background and the background color. Okay, background takes more than one value, while this takes just color. Okay, Background is a short. So actually, if you put only one color, one value, to assume that it's a color. Okay, so if you are confused again, this is what you just do. This is normal way. You say CSS background. Okay, or you can even say background versus. Okay, let's just say background. Okay, then you again it gives me that website. So it's a shorthand. You can see. So you can either put, there are other properties that you can take. So if you put only one property, it's just color. But then there are other things that you can also take as well. Okay. But this one, particular one, is just the color that it takes. Okay, of course, these are different ways of specifying color. Remember, we learned about this, all these ways of specifying colors. Okay, so these ones will actually learn about. So this, you're going to be going through this documentation to find out, okay, what is really there. Because I mean, there's no class you are going to attend that you learn all the CSS. So it depends on what you're going to, what you're doing. Then you now go and check. But the basic idea here is to get you used to what CSS is, or that understanding, so that you know what CSS is and know how to use it. Okay, so you can, in fact, as long as you're creative, you can build anything with it. All right. So here we're just going to make use of the background, and let me just do green for now. Okay. And then let's also create this one, box 2. The box 2. And then, okay, maybe we can just make them the same size. So what I'm going to also show something now. So width, 200 pixels. Height, 200 pixels. Background, crimson. Okay, so have these two colors. But of course, if you just put color like this, it's going to look like this. So it's not going to be the radial gradient is not there. So it's just very, very plain. It doesn't look interesting. You want your app to be captivating, right? When people see it, like, oh, this looks nice, but this just looking using a plain color doesn't really make sense. Okay. In fact, all we can even do here is, okay, as I put this now, I can see that this is a RGB color here. So it's 2020, red is 20, this sorry, red is 220, this one is 20, and then this is 60. So I'm just going to do that. So instead of using this, I'll do RGB 2020, 20, and 60. So give me exactly the same thing. Now, one thing I can do here, this one will allow you to add some transparency to your colors. Okay, so if I put, instead of putting, we learned it before, so RGBA, that's what I'm going to use, and then put 0.5. Okay, so if I put a higher value, becomes more transparent. At the value, sorry, less transparent, more opaque. Yeah, less transparent. But as the value approaches 0.0, okay, it becomes like this is entirely transparent. So I put 0.1, you can see, put 0.2, put 0.3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then if I put 1, of course, 1 is like, yeah. But to make it look, maybe you can put 8, and so on and so forth. So remember how we do that. So even if I'm using the color name, you may not be using the color name that much. Okay, but just for now, I can just use color name. So I'm just going to go back to, let's go back to RGB. Or maybe since this one is even more, we're going to be using this more, the hex. Remember, hex has 6 values, right? So the first in base 6, so the first 2 represent still red, green, and then that one. Okay, so this is how you can represent red. So the red takes the maximum value, then the other ones take 0, 0. Okay, but yeah. Okay, so I just want us to get used to all of this. All right, because very, very important. Yeah, so let's go back to our thing. Okay. So here we are going to do a linear gradient here for the first one. Let's do a linear gradient instead. Because I don't just want a plain color. So I want to put something that is way more interesting. So linear, so I'll type linear gradient. Once you start typing, it also shows you. Okay. So I'll do, let's start with 0 degree. The value is first value is the angle or the direction. Then the second one, I'll put yellow. And then the third one, I'll put red. Okay, so you can see that this color now is way more interesting than this. I'm just combining this kind of colors like this. Okay, and then you see now, you can see the RGB. It just gives you 25, 25, and then this. But you can't still use just the RGB to get something like this. Okay, this is linear gradient. Okay, so when you go to the website and see how the color progressively changes to another color, just know that when you look at it, you know that this is linear gradient. So we want to get to a point where you just look at a design, you already have an idea of how to replicate that design with CSS. That's what we want to get from this class. Okay, so again, you don't have to even cram anything. The linear gradient is always there for you to just go and take a look at. In fact, we can even, let me click on this. Okay, if I really want this one, I can just, I can just copy it. Okay, I can just copy. Okay. And then paste. Just paste this one. Sorry, I made a mistake there. Copy. Okay, so it's not an exam you're writing, so I say you should not copy. So you can easily just copy the thing, the example, and put it on your website if that's what you want. So you can see the difference between this one and this one, that it combines more than one linear gradient. So, all right, so you have the linear gradient can be, you don't just need only one, so you can combine more than one, and then you have something like this. See, this is the first one. Let me just expand it. So you have the angle of this 216, you have this color, right? And then you have this, and then you have a comma, put a comma here to put another linear gradient, just for you to have something that looks very unique. Now, somebody cannot look at this and say, which color? You can't really say the particular color. All right. Meanwhile, this one is just one. It's pretty straightforward. But this one combine more linear gradients, which is just the example I've just gotten from here. So you can either just put one or put several linear gradients. Okay, this one also uses RGB, and then you can see the percentage now. So meanwhile, you can put as a percentage or put 0.7. You understand? This is like same thing as 0.7071. Okay, just for you to get something that looks very, very interesting and unique. Okay, so any questions so far?
Is it possible to merge the colors? For example, just that you have these two boxes. You see the difference between the first box and the second box is very obvious. Is it possible to blur the borders so that the obvious line in between the two boxes will not show?
This one here?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, but you have to, of course, it's possible, but there are two different boxes. What we just need to do is to make this color at the bottom to be similar to this. Maybe let's try it by just basically just copying this. Okay, maybe if we copy this, it may not really work. Yeah, but they say something like this are things that you have to really, it's not a particular, there's no particular one, it's no specific way of doing it, right? So you have to just try different things. Okay. Maybe we can do let's say other or maybe we can just do this color, which is now it's a kind of so instead of so if you need something like this, really, yeah, for me, I will not, if I need the same color like this, I would rather just use linear gradient for one box. Okay, and try linear instead of just creating two boxes now, and then try to fade out this color. Okay, I can just use one particular box and then create a color that will just have this pattern. But again, like as you've imagined it's possible. Yeah, but some of these things I have to check, because these are not things that I just say, okay, there's a particular way of doing it. I want specific way. You have to now just try many things. If I try this, maybe it can take me like 10, 20 minutes or so. But because I have not done that before, because if I have a solution like this, I don't need to create 2 boxes. Okay, I'll create 1 box and then do that. But if I have to now solve it like this, I have 2 boxes. There's nothing I can do. I have to just first make sure that I achieve that here. Then I have to try it out. Okay, which we don't really have time for that here for now. Yeah, but it's something that you can try out yourself and see.
Okay.
But it's possible, right? It's possible. There usually, when you're solving a problem, there are usually different ways of solving the same problem. That's not really yeah. But the question is that why would you want to do that when you have? Why would you create 2 boxes if that is really what you want? Because you can progressively just move from here to this particular color. Okay, what you need to change maybe just the angle. You have to play around with the angle to see how this color may work. In that case, just 1 box should be okay. And then do the length of the box should be 400 instead of the 200, the height. And then progressively move. But it's something you can achieve, like you can play around with these things. Okay. All right. So yeah, so there's another one which is called maybe I should create another box and call it box 3. This time box 3, like I've just pasted, and you see that it's just recreated itself because the same CSS is working on it. So I'm just going to change it to box 3, and then I also want to show something here. So do box 3 with 200 pixels, and then do a background. So in this particular case, let me just do a background color. Just do red for now. Okay, in fact, I want to separate the colors. So what I want to do, I'll just have to put a margin. So I'll say margin 10 pixels. Okay, so I'm just going to put 10 pixels here. I see how I'm copying the code, right? You already noticed something here that we are repeating similar codes. So usually in programming, we try as much as possible to not repeat code. Okay, why do I have to repeat this thing 3 times? You see this here, that here, and then this is highly discouraged. So the only difference between these 3 CSS rules here is the color, because the colors are different. So you have to just definitely put the colors out there. So whenever you run into a case like this, you can bring them, you factor them. It's like you're doing math, you factor them out. So I'm just going to remove all of them from there. All right, I'm just going to remove them. So it's like you factor them out, just like you do in maths. And then I'll come here and do box 1, comma, box 2, comma, box 3. And then paste here. Okay, so you can see, because if you want several selectors to have the same rule, you just separate them with a comma. Okay, so this is usually what you do. So in this case now, you can see that if I want to make change to a particular box now, I don't need to clean a lot of things, and then it's also now easier to make changes to the boxes. Okay, so this is usually a practice you do, whether in Python or any programming language you want to. We are always try to minimize the amount of code that we're right. Okay, for this particular one, I want to introduce something else again. That's what we call radial gradient. Okay, this one is linear. Okay, they also have radial gradient. Okay, radial gradient is more like kind of circular. Call it radial, like radial. Whenever I hear radial, I mean like circle. So let's try it. Maybe I should move this box to, doesn't matter. Let me just move it here just because of screen. Okay. No. So that it does not really matter where you put it anyway, but you can see that because what matters is the position here. Okay, is a third one here. So I just put it here, and then maybe just shift this one. Okay, so we also have radial gradient. So sometimes you may have forgotten what radial gradient is. You just go and type it and say, oh, what's radial gradient? Say CSS. So every single day as a programmer in the industry, you will have to be typing something because there are many things you're supposed to know or you know. You can see the radial gradient. I just goes out. Let's look at it. Create an image consisting of progressive transition between two or more colors that radiates from an origin. Like this, from the origin, just go out like that. Okay. So you can see. Look at this example. See that? All right. Look at this example. See that? Okay. So if you need something like on your website, maybe the whole page, you can just basically just copy from here and put on your website. So the basic idea again is that you just need to know what to do. That's it. But what we want is to be different. Most of the time, too, it may be different for you as well. So we're going to do radial gradient because once you start typing, CSS will understand. And then, so I'm going to put a color called cyan, and then blue. Okay, because I want it to look like this. All right. So these are just different ways of playing around. Again, if you are confused about color or you don't know how the paragraph color to choose, you can always go to color UI palettes. Okay, flat UI colors. Okay, you can always go here and just click, and then you have all of these colors. Just Swedish palettes. You can click on them. Okay, and once you click on it, it gives you a color code. That's why I said that this hex code is usually very, very important. You just know, you don't need to cram it. The colors are always there for you. And also, if you want different shade of colors, okay, like this one, I need a different shade of color. I can always go to 0 to 255. Okay, so 0 to 255. You can click on color picker and type the code here that I copied from the palette. Press enter. It gives me that. So I can now choose any of the shade of the color that I want. Okay, if I want a darker one, if I want a light one, I should just click on it, and then it copies it, and then just go to your code and paste. So let's say I want this, I'll paste this, and then you can see that this is what I have, but that's not really what I want. I rather blue. Okay, I rather like a dark one, like this one. Let's see, and then go come and paste. Okay, but maybe the blue that we have is better. So for blue, remember RGB. So I'll do 00 for red, G00, and then blue FF. So, okay, so you also have that. Yeah, so this is what we have. Again, so you can create, in fact, you can even, let's just do this now. So instead of doing the width, that I can just do the width 100%. So again, 100% simply means that it should take the size of the parent. What's the parent of these boxes? Is the body. Is the body that encloses the boxes. So this is the parent. So these are the siblings because they're not inside each other. They're just on the body, right? In the body. So they are all siblings. So whenever I say 100%, or you do use percentage in this case for the width or the height, you're always saying that the parent. So if I change the parent now, let me change the parent now by adding maybe one. I'll just do this. Let's call it, put div. Now it has another parent here. Now the parent, let's just do container. So if I right now, the parent is basically by default it inherits the width of the parent. So this div itself inherits the width of its parent, which is the body. Now the parent of this other divs now it's no longer the body. It's not this. The body is more like the grandparent. Okay. So if we write CSS for the container here and say the width of this should be let's say 100 pixels. Yeah. So even if the parent, even if you have this width will still be 100%, but that 100% is no longer 100% of the body, but rather 100% of the immediate parent. Okay, so because we've reduced the width of this one now, so the 100% of this simply means 100%, which simply means the width of this one, which is 100%. So if I change this width to 200, it will increase. If I change to 500, it will continue to increase, because that's the parent. Okay, so if I also do, I can also do this. The width should be it should be 100% of the parent, which simply means that you just cover the whole thing. Okay, now I can also do this instead of 100%, I can say 90%. Is it 90 or 90? No, 90%. Okay, of the parent. Now, there's also what we call viewport height width. Viewport width. Now, the viewport width, you're going to come across it often. Yeah, so this is one of the main viewport is just the visible part of the screen. That's the viewport. Okay, this from here to there, that's viewport, the visible part of your screen. So it's different for different screen sizes. Okay, so whenever you see this thing, I say that 90% of the viewport width, or 50% of the viewport width. The viewport is from here to there. So 50% of the viewport. You can also have the height as well. I can just say, for instance, I think it would make sense to just do for the height. Maybe I'll just leave this width, like remove this width and put rather. So once I remove the width, it just takes the parent width. So now I'm going to put the height. Okay, just to give you, height should be 50% of the visible part of the screen. So viewport height. Okay, viewport height. Okay, so the problem now, the issue now with this is that the height in this case is fixed within so the height is fixed within the rule. Okay, so if I do like maybe percentage of, so even if this is this now, even if they have the height to be viewport height of this to be 50% of the viewport now, but the height of this is actually fixed. It's not a percentage of the parent or anything, the percentage of, so it doesn't really affect it. That's another thing. So whenever you run into a situation where you try to do something and you see that the changes are not being made, you need to check very well. Now, why the width was affected? Because the width is expressed as a percentage of the parent. But now this is not a percentage. But if I change it to 200 pixel, it's 200 pixel. Okay, so it does not. It's no longer affected by the width of the parent because it's not a fixed width, which is a pixel. That's why sometimes we don't usually use the pixel that much. Okay, well later on we're going to learn that you don't use pixels as much, especially you only use it for smaller values. Okay, what you rather to use relative units. That has been in the past, maybe early 2000. I don't know, not early 2000, like maybe late 2000. Well, early 2000 maybe. Right? Is it early 2000? Maybe around 2007, 2009, 2010, when smartphones started coming out. You see that when you want to browse with your phone, you have to always, you see that the text usually look very small. You have to zoom out. You have to zoom in, sorry, you have to zoom in to really see. And sometimes you have to even zoom out. You don't just open a website on your browser and just read it. So, and that's because they didn't have most websites didn't have responsive CSS that time. Okay, because of every unit were expressed by this particular height. So for instance, if I open this in my phone, it's going to occupy the whole, it's going to just give me this size without minding the screen size. Okay, yeah, so that's why we use relative unit. That a relative unit will help to look at the screen size and give you something proportional to the screen size. Okay, but for learning, usually have to just have an idea of the pixels, because obviously you're going to use it. Okay, I want this box to also, let me just do this box border radius to have curve at the edges, just to look a bit more nicer. Okay, so this border radius is very, very important. You can see it curves the boxes at the end. We've used it several times, but if you want this to, you can also do something like this. If you want it to look like a circle, or to just circular, you can see it look like a ball now. Okay, so whenever you want something like that's why you have your profile picture in WhatsApp, in your social media. Most of the social media usually have round. Usually, you just border radius they put in that picture. So that's why it's round. Border radius of 50%, not 50% will always give you. Whenever you have a square and put a border radius of 50%, give you a circle like this. Okay, so don't worry too much about the unity like this pixel for now. Just for you, it's something that you will get used to as time goes on. Okay, so we don't really need this. You can just do 100% of both, 100% of height. Okay, maybe we'll just remove it from now. I don't really need it. Okay, so these are the two main things I wanted to show us for today. And again, see how I kept on going to the website and kept looking at it, different things. And so that's how it's like I said, it's not an exam that you say, oh, don't copy, or don't. You just need to understand what you're doing and you know what gets to accomplish whatever you want. All right, so any question?
Okay, I have a question. When you are talking about responsive screen, how would you make this one you have done now responsive?
Okay, so responsive. Oh, it's when we get to media queries. Yeah, okay. So we're going to that's what a topic in CS called media queries. When we get to media queries, we're going to learn how to create something that will show exactly the same or the way you want it on different screens. So then we have to now be doing something like this, just to make sure that reduce the screen size and so a couple of ways. We're going to get there. Don't worry. We're going to learn how to. Yeah, so you can see what it looks like on the phone right now. Okay, this is not what you want to see. If you already seen it looking nice, like very nice in your look at what it looks like on the screen. When you now get to a phone, if you put in the phone, this is what it looks like. I'm sure this may not be. So you can also check. You can see responsible dimensions. Okay, so you can also check iPhone XE, Samsung Galaxy 8 Plus. Okay, so we're going to learn how to play around with all of this. So when you build something to iPhone 14 Pro Max, you see, imagine something that already looking nice. At least this looks way more better, even if it's not really occupying even if you have a lot of white space here, but it looks way more interesting than when you now want to view it on your phone. Okay, like look at iPhone 14 Pro Max. This is what you're going to see. It doesn't look, at least it should just be, it should take in the whole size of the screen, at least, or maybe up to half like this. Just so the size should make sense. But right now it's not making any sense, really. Okay. So yeah, so you're going to like see this thing here. So this is how you check when you're developing your application. You check how it's going to look on the phone, maybe iPad Pro. Okay, so you just have an idea of if somebody opens this in an app, how is it going to look like? What is it going to look like? Okay, and then so we're going to learn how to do all of this, how to play around with different screen size, and so you can see that it's not really looking. In fact, one of the things we have to even do is, so you can see this CSS is very, very minimal. We don't have anything here. All right, so if I go here and do this, Okay, so whenever you're writing your application, the real world, you have to at least, you should have this line, this viewport content with a color device minus with initial. So there's some calculation that's been done here to scale it to make sure that, yeah, but this is not the only, it's not sufficient really. All right, this is not sufficient for you to really get something that is nice. Yeah, but this is part of it. Okay, so if you have a website that doesn't even have this line at all, and that's really no, the thing will not really look nice at all. Okay, you can see viewport. Viewport is a visible part of your screen. And then say that the width is the device minus width, and then initial scale 1. So this will actually, yeah, you don't need for you understand this in later. I don't want to go into it for now, but that is this line actually helps in making sure that you build something that, you know, to locate, identify the device width, and then try to display it properly. Okay, plus media query again. Media query, just like it's an if statement. If you have done Python, that if statement, you are going to do something similar, but not necessarily, but it's a conditional that checks what is this, that will ask the browser, what is the size of the screen of this device? So this is the size, so I will apply this particular CSS. So if the different size, then I'll apply this CSS. Okay, so that is the way we're going to get there with our CSS. Okay, so that's something I want us to try as assignments. Let me just see here. So we have table, yeah. Table head. Okay, that's the table head, which is we just need hex, color, name. Okay, and then we have the table body. We've done table before, so of course, since I have just 2 columns here, you know, you have this the head here. Okay, let me just run this one first of all. I need to get rid of this. To stop this, stop live server. Okay, I want to run this one here. Show preview. Oh no, show preview. Okay. So where is that one coming from? Okay, it's coming from me. So you can see I have color names and case color and color names. So for now, let's just put a, okay, I think we can just actually put a border here. So let's go style, because I want to make sure that we have so when I don't do table, since there's only one table, so I can just basically just use put the border. So, solid. But this is not necessarily about this. Okay, so for now, I'm just remove this one. I'll just put this thing here. Just put it for say 2 pixels. Okay. So just put this attribute here because I don't want to start coloring this for now. So attribute 2, and then I want us to so for instance, now if I want to put the first one, I want to put black. So remember black 00. Okay, and then okay, and then the background color of course should be black. Okay. Color. So basically what I want us to build is something like this that looks, you have this color code and then the color names. Okay, color code and color names. Color like this. You also build a table as many colors as possible. So what I would advise you do is to go here and pick all these colors. You can see the color names, and then you code are there. For instance, I can pick this one and come here and say so sorry, you need to put this in a row. You can also put this in a row as well, no problem. TR. Row. Okay. So put that in a row. Each time, just create a row and put the table data. So in this case, we have black 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And then we have the name. Okay, so let's say highlighter pink. Okay. So I'm just going to paste the color code here and then call this highlighter. Okay, so if we do that, if we repeat this several times, you can see we have all of that. But of course, what I want us to do is to do it for one, for each of these colors. Now I want you to, for different colors, sorry, not for the same color, for different colors. Why do we have this? Okay, sorry. I copied. So we should just have one, this thing. So for different colors, okay? And then you have to write the CSS. So for this, each of these colors now, let me just call this. This row is for instance, this row is for highlighter, what do they call it? Highlighter, dash pink. Okay, that's a class name. Then obviously you have to go to, I think it makes sense for you to create another CSS, another file here for CSS. Okay, so I'll just call it new file, color practice styles of CSS. Okay, the name can be as long as you want, no problem. So I'll come here and then put the was it this class name here. Okay, copy the class name. So for now, we'll just do, was a class name, so I'll put dot and then put the color. So the color should be white for the test. Okay, white is F. Okay, and then the background color should be the actual color. So this is this one. So I'll just copy that and paste here. So copy and paste. So that's the background. Obviously, it's not showing here because I've not connected the CSS. So I'll go and connect the CSS here. So to connect the CSS, remember what we did last time. You don't need this thing here. You need a link. Call it follow practice.css. Okay, so as soon as you have that, it's connected. But again, this is not really what I want. I think what I want is that the color should just be on this side. Okay, so what I can do here is to I'll even make this one longer again. So I'll do a class name for the, let me just copy this. Yeah, so this just to get our hands dirty, you know, to just get used to. So I'll call this code. And then I'll do this. I'll call this name. Okay. So what I really wanted is the name. Okay, you can see it's the name that's not affected. Okay, so for now, I don't really care about the CSS for this one. Okay, just the color name. So I can do the same thing for maybe a different one. I usually like something that looks like blue, or maybe let me just take another country's. Let's take German. Okay, German. Let me take this one. All right. So instead of this, I'm going to paste that. Let's look at the name. The name is C4NTSC. I don't even know what that means. C4NTSC. Okay. Just using uppercase C4NTSC. Okay. And then we just do this same, something similar. Just write a class, although we don't really need the class C4. Remember, I don't put any space. So if there is any space in the word, just put a dash to cover NTXC. Okay. And this is the code. I'll do the same thing for the name. So why do we have to put all of this? Because maybe we may need to write some CSS for the code as well. But for now, we just need the name. And then let's just do it here. We may want to write some CSS for the which contains that. So I'll just say, so I'll go back here and put, oh, this is not the class name. Okay, I can even copy the thing here already since I have it here. Copy the color. Background color. That. I didn't copy that. Again. Okay, but it's not the code I want, it's the name. Okay, so basically this is what I want us to do. You know, for the code and the color, for all of them. Now, because you need to really get used to all this, you need to really type something and see how the thing works. Okay. In fact, one thing I can also do here is, are we still on this one? Let's copy this. Colors practice, colors dash practice. Okay, you can see how it's looking on this iPhone 12 Pro. All right, so it's not looking well. So let's just go back to our browser. Okay, so we just need to create something like this. I have all of these colors, and maybe the color can actually be black too. It looks like we can actually even make it black instead of white. Just remove this. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I just remove it. So yeah, so when it comes to design, right, you just what look makes sense. Sometimes it can't. Things have a lot of things about design. Sometimes it just it depends on your creativity. Like as I just look at it, I feel that this one for me. I mean, do you feel that this looks a bit better than having the white color? Okay, so just when you get used to just doing different things, you're practicing and all of that. You see that? Okay, so that's it. Any question? But again, you see how all these things you see on the website, how they are done. All right, you just obviously we practice. Yeah. Any queries?
Sorry, you did not let to upload the previous classes.
Okay, yeah, so I've not still uploaded it. I mean, okay, yeah, so I'll try. Like Benjamin said, he's going to remind me today. So yeah, I have a meeting like in 20 minutes time. So maybe when I'm done with that meeting, I'll try and upload them. Yeah, but usually this is just, yeah, this is it for today. And so when you watch the video, just try and do the assignments. Just create a table and put all those classes, and yeah, it's also a way to get used to things like that. And again, you know, although we are moving quite slow, but it's not really a problem, because you have, there are a lot of things to really practice. Like even if you look at the book, there's another book I saw again that, though it's not in English, so I can't send it to you guys. The book is also good, but yeah, but just practice. Okay, just practice and get your hands dirty. All these websites that I've just been showing, see, there are a lot of examples. Yeah, because the only way to really, this is a skill like any programming, like you are learning Python. If you don't do the exercises, you definitely not, no matter how, even if you attend Python classes for 1,000 years, if you don't do the exercises, just forget it. Okay, it's just like when you are solving math, you want to read a math textbook, you just read it and think that you understand what you don't solve the exercises. That really, so the main studying is when you now solve the exercises. In case of, yeah, the same thing in programming, you have to really solve this and get used to it. But this thing I'm showing you guys today, when I was learning CSS, at the point I almost gave up. I said, no, this thing is not for me, because I wasn't understanding it. It was a bit confusing for me that time, because I was just doing it by myself. Yeah, but that's the way it works. But that's the thing. If I had given up, I'll say, oh, this is not for me. I did not study computer science, or all these for people that do. So all those kind of stuff, it would have, I wouldn't have been able to, get to the point where I actually can teach it. So you just stay at it. And like I said, now when it comes to, there's always there's a part of tech that have not even started, for instance, in Nigeria at all. And that's where the money is even now, AI. We've not even started. So, but once the thing kicks off, you're going to see that there are a lot of skills that will be needed. Skills that have been, and no matter how we look at it, there are always that we don't really have enough skill right there. Okay, don't really have. So let it be that when all these things start, you're ready. It's not now in that time that say you want to go and learn. Remember, the learning always take time. There's no shortcut to learning. There's really no shortcut. You have to sit down and learn. You have to sit down and learn and learn and learn. Me, for instance, now, so I decided I'm going to AI fully. Okay, I've been learning, and a lot of things. Just been learning a lot. Okay, because it's a journey. It's not something that you just say. It's not something you just wake up and say, "Oh, you want to go into AI in 2 months, you get it." It's not possible. Okay, in 3 months, even in 1 year, it's almost not possible. Okay, or that's not really, but 1 year, anything is possible with 1 year, but it's difficult. That's what I would say. Okay, it's difficult, but it's not that it's not possible. It's not impossible, but it's difficult. All right. So yeah, but all of these things require a lot of effort and determination. Because if you are not really not determined in life generally, if you are not determined, yeah, it won't be easy if you are not really not determined. So it's more like you're always fighting to become something, and that's really the thing for everyone. So just try, like, those your Python assignment, take it very, very seriously, like this one as well. Be familiar, don't be left out. Don't be that, oh, what is it? Is it technology? You don't know what is happening. At least know something that know something. There are people that that even went to university to study computer science. They work as HR because they not really they could not really, it's a skill. If most people are not used to learning a skill. Skill is not like you go to school for 5 years or 6 years and come out with a certificate. That does not give you a skill. Oh yeah, and those ones that you request exam. When you write exam, you just go cram some things. After you cram and then you write the exam, that's it. You don't learn skills that way, and that's why the university education is somehow. Skill, you have to always be good at it. Try to get used to good at it. Without you don't need exam for skill. Anything you have to write exam is usually not to really gain skill, like practical skill. It's not exam. Okay, it's not exam because you can write exam and pass. Exam is how many exam is not a real world situation really. Yeah, that's like 1 hour. Most of the things you do, even to change color in CSS, just to look for the file, can take you, especially if you're working on a very big project, can take you 1 hour. Right. But if you have written a CSS exam for 1 hour, you say that, oh, you've passed the exam based on, but things don't really work that way. So we have to know, but of course, learning is an opportunity for you to learn how to, being an educational institution it's an opportunity for you to learn how to think and how to really learn. That's the most important thing about going to school, learning how to learn. Because you have to always relearn a lot of things. There are a lot of people that I'm following in AI, like global AI experts that I consider my mentors. Some of them studied physics. In fact, there are computer science. In fact, there's the person that makes this thing possible. Let me just confirm, just to be fair. This AI that we're seeing every day, we're talking about AI. It's actually one branch of AI, which is called machine learning. Okay. And then a branch of machine learning called deep learning that is making all this possible. Okay. Let's see. The person that actually discovered this deep learning thing we're talking about, do you know what the person is studying undergraduate? Psychology. So if you are not in this life, if you think that you just want to, if you are not flexible, I know a lot of people. I know one of the top computer science professor in Stanford University. Is it Stanford or MIT? Okay, MIT. His first degree was English. So don't tell yourself that, oh, I'm a science student. I studied my own. When it comes to literature, I'm not interested. When it comes to math, or I'm called to become what, a mechanical engineer, or I'm called to become. This thing can lead into a problem when you think like that, because things are always changing. So when things change now, people are not using mechanical, so you now go and continue to become a mechanical engineer. It doesn't make sense. Or you say I'm called to become a chemist. Now, if people, or for instance, they call the realistic one, I won't call to become a petroleum engineer. So you now go in 2024, still go and apply to become a petroleum engineer, or to become which one again? Chemical. No, chemical is even better. As you go on to become a petroleum engineer. Yeah, you are preparing for the past. Really. Really, unless you already have a kind of practical application. Maybe, in fact, you have to be connected with programming, maybe something that app or something you have developed that have to solve problem in that area. I want to go and find out. I want to go more and find out the how to just also be familiarize yourself with the field, the knowledge base of the field, and then find out how you can apply that. But if you just say make petroleum engineer and say you want to go, it doesn't work that way. And because of the part of the world we came from, we don't have mentors. We just decide that, oh, I want to be this, and you just go. There's nobody to speak to. There's nobody that have gone there to speak to really know what you need to do. So it's really important. So that's it. The person Geoffrey Hinton, he was the one that actually, him and his students that actually invented deep learning that makes all these things we are saying today called AI possible. But it's only what psychology. So when you see somebody say humanities, oh, it doesn't. Especially I know when I attended Uniport those days, when because I was in physics, so people that study engineering, in fact, when they ask you what are you studying, say physics. In fact, some of them will just sigh. Ah, no, we are looking for somebody that studied mech engine. All those kind of things. It's because of lack of exposure. And then most of the people too that are also even heading AI. That's why the sciences, if I have to advise somebody to study even now, this I would say is computer science. If you want to study anything apart from that, maybe physics, and then electrical engineering. Okay, because why do I even say electrical engineering or make electrical electronics engineering? Because I know that there's still a lot of programming in it. If I need like any course you study these days, any engineering you study these days, but you have to have a reason. Don't just say that this is the one I like. Okay, you have to really have a reason why you want to study. Or this is because most of the time that we like something because of our environment, because of what we have been hearing. It's not because we are gifted in that area. And then most of the people that even say that, okay, like I remember some guys that used to say that they want to become medical doctors because that's their calling.